Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Hope you have a wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how do I go about starting this particular journey when it comes to personal finance. So one of my colleagues just transferred from Sydney to Brisbane, and we're working together. And we're on a service-based business. When we're doing service-based business, that means we travel quite a lot. Queensland is a little bit different compared to Sydney, where you do rely on a car. You do rely to go point A to point B to drive somewhere. Because we're using our tools, we have a lot of product that require a vehicle with it. In Sydney, on the other hand, the infrastructure, the public transport, it's well more structured compared to Brisbane. We kind of realized this. We're making fun of it, the fact that there's only one way to move around Brisbane. If you go to Gold Coast, you're using this one highway. If you go to Sunshine Coast, you're using another highway. And if you go in the west, all the way to Toowoomba, for example, you're using a certain highway. So those are the three main locations that we always have to travel between locations. Now, realizing this, he asked me, goes, where do you start when it comes to personal finance? I started in the car. So for what it means is this. On an average, when you have to travel to and from work, even if you have to go to the office or using public transport, let's averaging about 1 hour, let's say, of a travel time. During that travel time of 1 hour per day, that's one way 1 hour and another 1 hour on the way home. That's about 2 hours of your day. And then if I calculate that alone, if it's Monday to Friday, you're working 5 day week, let's say, that would mean about 10 hours a week. Based on 10 hours a week, that's about a 500 hours that we spend on a 50 weeks base. That's about 500 hours that we spend in just traveling to and from work, which is averaging it out roughly about 20 physical days, like 24-hour days that we spend on just traveling. Based on 500 hours or so, I'm looking at what is some ways in order for me to actually learn more. So to do that, I use Audible. And if we were to spend about 500 hours per week on traveling, of just sitting idle where you can't really do anything else, we just sit there, I'd rather do Audible. Audible is one of the best products out there from my experience, with the touch of your hands, on your phone. Instead of scrolling on Facebook, instead of scrolling on Instagram or YouTube, it's a lot more. I guess I like just listening on books. So I connect that to my car on Bluetooth, or if not on a earbud or so on a headphone. So from there, I used to just listen to a lot of podcasts, and I realized with a lot of podcasts, the information is somewhat irrelevant to what I actually needed at that particular time. However, in a book, because I buy them, I see a lot more value on that. And sometimes when we have to travel a long time, 1.5, 2 hours one way, it is a great time for you to read on the books. So, or listen to an Audible. The books that I recommend, this is based on my personal experience, are as following. So, the first one, this is not in any order by any means, based on what I just saw on my physical library. The books go Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. Roughly, it will cost you about 6 hours and 38 minutes. Call it 6.5 hours. The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, that's about 3 hours and 40 minutes. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, I think that's how I pronounce it correctly, 5 hours and 48 minutes. Now, those three is American-based type of book. It's not Australian-based. However, you just have to tweak it according to what you can get from it. Australia, I guess, I found it. There's not a lot of personal finance book or so. However, if you want to start the Australian version, it would be the Strong Money Australia by Dave Gow. Definitely, that's a starting point, let's say. I find that it's very inspiring. There is actually an Australian author that is actually writing this stuff. Another one would be Barefoot Investing with Scott Pate. So the Strong Money Australia by Dave Gow is roughly about 8 hours for that particular book. And then Barefoot Investor is roughly about 7 hours or so for that particular book. Average for all of these books, or average of reading, it's roughly about 6 hours per book or so, for the book that I just mentioned. I will leave the link on the description where you get them, Audible version anyway. I found that if I was on the road, it's a lot more easier because I've got no choice. But even though the average is about 6 hours, I found them that I have to repeat the book or repeat the chapter or go back one or two chapters because I forgot what they're talking about. So that pushed it out to me to about 10 hours or so for per book. So for me, instead of trying to aim 50 books per year, I'm just aiming for one book a month with an average of 12 books per year. So that can be doable because life get in the way and there's a lot of things going on. You tend to forget, you've got other things in your mind. Sometimes when I drive, I think of something else and I'm not really listening to what it is that I'm supposed to be gauging with this book. And yeah, sometimes I have to, and most of the time I read the book twice. So that way I absorb what is the information that is actually given to in that particular book. So yeah, Audible is the best way, from personal experience. And I've been using Audible for the past couple of years. I totally highly recommend it if you are on the go and you don't have a lot of spare time. Physical book, on the other hand, for me, sometimes I try. I fall asleep when I'm reading them, especially like some personal finance, where sometimes it can be a little bit dull. Um, and we try not to buy the physical book because it takes a lot of space. So, when we're living in an apartment, if we keep on buying them, we're going to be running out of space quite quickly. Library, on the other hand, it's a short period of time where I can borrow them, and I find them when we get home from, I guess, our activity from work or so. There's all of these things that piling up as part of our lives. By the time I'm trying to read it, I'm really tired. So, whereas Audible, I can listen to them first thing in the morning after dropping off the kids to work, where I'm a lot more refreshed, and before I even start to my first site, let's say. Definitely, Audible is the way to go for me. I will leave the link on the description below, on where I get them and the books that I'm mentioning on this video. If you like this type of content, guys, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.